this is Dr. Tucker. Let's talk about how we would apply natural law according to Thomas Aquinas. The application of natural law as used by Thomas Aquinas is far more involved and complicated than the process we will follow. We are going to oversimplify considerably. Thomas Aquinas would be concerned about virtues from Plato and Aristotle, and to these he would add some of his own virtues. He would look at primary precepts and then use reason to find secondary and even tertiary precepts. He would carefully exclude any contradictions. He would also be concerned about the morality of actions in themselves and the motivations for those actions and also the consequences. But we will look at the universal human goods. For our purposes, we will use the human goods or values of human life, health, procreation, welfare of children, knowledge, and then human relationships or social order. Let's go back to the situation of Karina, the woman who has discovered toxic waste being dumped in the rock quarry near the city's reservoir. As she looks at the situation, what should she do? Well, as before, let's first look at her options. She could simply stay quiet and do nothing. She could report what she knows to her uncle, the reporter. She could alert the Environmental Protection Agency or give an ultimatum to her boss. Would any of these violate the universal human goods or values? Well, let's see. If she were to stay quiet, attempt to ignore the situation, all of the universal human values would be violated. Human life would be threatened. There would be negative health consequences. Children would be some of the first to be affected. By staying quiet, she would violate knowledge and promote ignorance and deception. She would also violate the social order and human relationships. Keep in mind once again regarding human relationships that we're not talking about offending someone or making someone angry. If she speaks up, someone may very well become angry. Certainly she will create a great deal of ill will and turmoil. But she will promote relationships long-term and certainly promote the social order. Telling her uncle, the reporter, will likely stop the dumping, but it will also have a negative impact on the town. The town will likely become inundated with lawyers, lawsuits, and a company facing public relations nightmare will have a harder time cleaning up the pollution and getting back on track. Welfare of children and human relationships will likely suffer. Let's keep looking at the options. Reporting to the Environmental Protection Agency may look like a violation of relationships, but this is indeed what the agency is there for. It is the agency's responsibility to preserve life, health, and welfare of children and the social order. This option looks pretty good. Confronting her boss, again, seems to preserve most of these, but only if the boss is receptive. In terms of relationships and social order, most often the right thing to do is to go directly to the person responsible before going to other authorities. And then there's that nagging question about the coworker who had heard rumors of threats of violence against people's families if they spoke up about the pollution. Karina has 2 children to think about. Would going to the boss endanger herself and her children? This might be a violation of the universal human good regarding health and welfare of her children. This option passes only if she can be sure to protect herself and her loved ones. Take one last look at those universal human goods before you make your decision. In the case of natural law, you may end up with more than one acceptable option. If so, how would you choose between multiple acceptable options? Well, your mind will naturally ask additional questions. If she looks at what's likely to work out best for her, she would be moving toward egoism. If she asks about what would be best for the most people, she's going to be moving toward utilitarianism. And if she thinks about the option that best expresses her ideals, virtue ethics. In real decision-making, it's natural for our minds to go to more than one moral principle. So this is how we apply natural law. As you apply natural law, go through your options, look at the universal human goods, but also be sure to express why you think this one or that one is supported or violating these universal human goods. Next time we're going to take a look at natural law today and some of the objections. Thank you.
you.